Welcome everyone to this GBO eSports Day. Thank you very much for coming. Bienvenidos todos. This is GBO, as I said. GBO is an international networking club. Many of you are members, so I don't have to explain many things to you, but others as guests. So what we do in GBO, we enjoy business networking because we think that by doing business networking the proper way, we open the door to many things. Many things happen, many good things happen, and those things happen when we trust each other, because that is the foundation of a good relationship, of a good business relationship. So we believe in business as a consequence of trust instead of business as a goal of networking. And today, as I said, we are here to talk about esports, about the esports business, about the esports as a game, as a sport, and about everything that is related with esports, the funds, the tokens behind the esports, the economics, the future of esports. So I hope you enjoy this day. I know that many of you are kind of related with the industry, so I hope this is very valuable with you. And I leave you with Pei, CEO of Vexed Gaming, who is going to introduce the first topic. Thank you for coming and enjoy.
Hi everybody, I'm Pei. I will spare you my full Chinese name because it's not pronounceable for any European. So all my friends and all my contacts call me Pei, and I used to be an international sales. So I always tell my customer pay to pay, so there's no confusion possible. Right, so eSport has been a new challenge, a new adventure in my life for the past 3 years, and I hope that it will go on until my retirement. So today I have the honor invited by Miguel to talk to you about eSport a little bit. How many of you know eSport? What does eSport means? If you raise your hand, you all know a lot. Okay, so it's just a brief introduction because it's not. No.
There's always something.
So while Miguel is doing the tech job, so today I'll try to give a very brief introduction what eSport is about and what is the ecosystem, what is the bigger picture, what are the future possibilities because of its digital nature. So following my presentation, you'll see other speakers who talk about Metaverse from Jorge, about fan token from Yasir, who is the super NFT fan token expert. Here, Vicky from Sportskred, they are data analytical company, so help influence the marketing to gain money and be better. Who else that we hope that the representative of TikTok will be here. We're just waiting for her. Oh, she just accepts my invitation. So hopefully she will arrive on time. Because TikTok, as you know, is a social media channel, but they recently started to move into the gaming industry. So I invited Soya to talk a little bit more to us about what's TikTok's plan for video gaming in the future. So I'll give a brief video about Vexed Gaming. So that's my company. I'm the co-founder and COO of the company since 3 years. Vexed Gaming is based in the UK. We have our office in Manchester, but the members are a bit everywhere. I live in Barcelona. The CEO is in London, and the CGO, the gaming officer, lives in Manchester. So just to, where is the mouse? Ha, okay. So that's Vexed Gaming. So we are, some people call us eSport team, or people call us eSport organization when you have more than one team. So we're basically, if we compare with football, because Spain is a football country, I think it will be the easiest for everyone to understand. So eSport organization is simply as a traditional football club. So we are, hopefully in the future, will arrive at the level of Real Madrid or FC Barcelona, where I live. So that's the goal for us. And we're moving quite quickly towards that direction. Oh, sorry, okay. Ooh. Too fast. Okay, so eSports, if you talk to people of my generation, I'm 48, so people of my generation will say, you know, it's just kids playing games, right? But when you look at the statistic as a sport, if you compare eSport today with other sports, we are actually on the fan number, so audience number, we are number 8 of, well, number 9 of the world. We are just smaller than baseball. So I think majority people actually don't have an idea how, you know, eSport is actually this big worldwide. What is interesting here as a chart is that you can see that in all the traditional sports, actually there are geographic concentration, because all the traditional sports are stronger in certain country, a certain region. But eSport is now the only sport in the world that there's no frontier, because it's digital, everybody can see everything. So on the bigger picture, so if we compare my analytical with football, so the bigger market for eSports is actually in the middle of video gaming industry, right? So eSport is the competitive part of video gaming. And also, in my personal opinion, eSport is an entertainment, it's a game, it's a sport, and betting is digital advertisement, it's digital marketing, and we are moving towards the Metaverse, the fan token, the NFTs, because of his digital nature. People of my generation, I think, sees eSports more like a game, like an entertainment, not like a mainstream marketing or a mainstream sport or mainstream entertainment. But if you have kids who are teenagers, if you know any millennials and Gen Z, if you ask them what the eSport is, for them is 80 to 90% of their life. So we are really talking about a business which is concentrated for millennial and Gen Z. So for me, it's the future of entertainment. I'm really not very good at that. Okay, so I don't know if it's visible to the people at the back, but it's purely a scheme that I made to show what are the stakeholders in eSports market, if we talk about only the competitive thing. So what you need to know from this chart is that I put publisher and game developer in red, because they are really the one who is, for the moment, one of the most important elements in eSports industry, because we started eSport competitive games or tournament because game publisher and game developer use the tournament to attract people to play games. So it's a marketing thing, and then they start to put prize money, and then prize money become bigger and bigger, and then players become today professional. If you know the game Counter-Strike, anyone knows Counter-Strike? Okay, right, more than I think. So Counter-Strike, for who doesn't know, is a military game. So basically you have 2 teams of 5 person, and they're all in military outfit, and they play in different maps. The goal is to kill each other, right? So that's very easy. So Counter-Strike players today, if they play for top 10 teams in the world, they will win 1 million to 1,500,000 of salary. So it's not bad at all, right? So it's, now we are in this kind of level of salary. So we as Vexed Gaming, because we're small, we haven't got a funder yet, or investor yet, so we can't afford a Counter-Strike team because it just costs too much money. And then I put streaming platform, entertainment game in red as well, because that's, I think, one of the parts that distinguish esport compared to traditional sport. Because esport is digital, so streamers as influencer on YouTube, they are a new kind of job in the esport world. So we, as an esport organization, for instance, we also have a team of streamers, because each streamer has their fan base, and their fans has different demographic. So it's a way for us, apart from promoting ourselves with the brand Vexed Gaming, we can also use streamer teams to increase the exposure of our brand. So that's a special thing for esports. And then I put teams in the middle, because apart from people who build games, the teams are the people who play games. And very soon they will become Messi of Barcelona. Actually, they are already, huh? PSG. Yeah, well, now he is in PSG. Yeah, I should change. But the problem is that now in Barcelona, there's no one worth it to be mentioned. So I should have checked who is the better one in Real Madrid before coming. So, well, actually, if you know a teenager who knows games, and all of them knows games, if you ask them, they all have a favorite player. So that kind of structure is already inside of esport. So it's only that our generation don't know about it, but the millennials, they all know about it. Okay. How many minutes do I have left? 10? Still? Oh, I'm talking too fast. 10? Ooh. I'm sorry for my... Sorry. Okay. So here is another slide that I think, so following the streaming conversation that we just had, so the title is Goodbye TV and Hello Twitch. So it's obvious that millennial and Gen Z don't watch television. And we even see difference between millennial and Gen Z because they're born with different technology. So Gen Z, compared to millennial, prefer mobile games, for instance, because they were born with mobile. Everything is on mobile. They can see everything on mobile, so they prefer to use mobile than PC. So when you look at games like Counter-Strike, which is a PC game, the age is a little bit older than mobile games age. So I put this slide here because GBO is a business networking club. Majority of GBO members are entrepreneurs. So I think it's important for you to know that if your company is producing a product or a service which is dedicated or that you would like to promote it to millennial and Gen Z, please stop using Facebook, unless if you live in Pakistan, because Facebook in Pakistan is the gaming social network. So you need to check in your country what is the social media channel most used for gaming and for which generation, because millennial and Gen Z are different. So for us in Vexed Gaming, for instance, in the UK, we started with Twitter, but now we see Gen Z are moving towards Instagram. So you will need, so there's a shift because of whatever reason. So each country has different situation. So if you want to promote your product or service to the millennial and to Gen Z, please check what kind of technology they use, what kind of platform that they prefer, because each and every platform here is just a mere example of what you have in the world. They all have different formats depending on the channels, so you have to produce the content which is adequate for that channel. So when you look at, for me, for instance, I'm a very bad example as social media person. I use the same image on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. This is absolutely not what you should do, okay? If you're promoting your product, you will need to produce them, 5 minutes, okay. You need to produce them according to the platform and according to the demographic that you're addressing to. Okay, no millennial wants to see the same advertisement as his mom is seeing. Okay, so that's a no. So you have to produce something for them. So today in eSport industry, eSport organization do that. So we as Vexed Gaming, for instance, we take a product from the customer, we do the concept, so we work like an advertisement agency, a media agency. So we say, okay, this product, if you want to sell it to an eSport community who is millennial or Gen Z, what kind of concept we should do, how we should shoot the video, and then to which channel we should distribute them. Okay, so it's all need to be carefully chosen to make sure your brand partner can successfully sell his product or his service. This one, okay. So that's eSport organization in brief, that's the revenue. So we are, as I said, we are a team like the traditional football clubs, so we sell sponsorship merchandising and we earn prize money, but we are also influencers. So we do lifestyle influence and we act as a media agency, so we do campaign, content production, content publication, and post-campaign reporting. And for post-campaign reporting, it's better that you get technical partners. Vicky will talk a little bit more about that because that's what her company is doing. So basically, they do data mining of your social media campaign and then produce an automatic report that we can send to our brands. Because the time that you put an advertisement on TV, on newspaper, and you have no idea how many people seeing it, that time is over and certainly doesn't exist in eSport. So you need to produce, prove the media value that you're actually bringing to your customers. So to find a good data analytical partner is essential. Then, digital extensions. So here is an example of he ran away. Is that working? It's okay. So it's a concert actually made by a DJ in US. I don't even know him, okay? So he made his concert in Fortnite, inside the game. So Fortnite is a game that you have avatar, you go in, there's different islands, you jump, you visit different islands, you have things to do or you don't have things to do. Fortnite created an island for him to have a concert of 10 minutes. That was 2019. In the 15 minutes of concert, they generated 20 million revenue. Okay, worldwide, 27.7 million people joined the concert. The biggest stadium in the world is in India. It's 138 something thousand. So you will calculate by yourself, because I'm not very good in math, how many stadiums you need. Okay, so this is what we talk about. That's why Millennial and Gen Z love Metaverse, love digital, love eSport, because they go into a digital place, they meet people from the world that my generation will never meet. So the excitement is different, the commercial model is different. So Yasir and Jorge will talk more about Metaverse, about NFTs, fan token, and AR, because that's what we are doing, and all the people in the eSport industry is figuring out how we can create extension of our club, our teams, and our fan engagement through a digital world. So I think that's the end. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, and now, thank you, Pei. Next up is Jorge Schnura. He is the president and co-founder of Mad Lions, and he's going to present eSports and the relationship with the Metaverse. So, all yours, Jorge. Thank you.
So pleased to meet you, everyone, and thanks for being here and for having invited me to come over. So, as Miguel said, we're going to be talking a bit about how can eSports leverage the Metaverse, right? Because we get a lot of brands, a lot of potential sponsors coming to us and saying, you know, what can we do with you guys in the Metaverse, right? And it's like they've heard of the Metaverse and they want to be there and they want to do stuff there, but they don't really know what can be done there and what is it for, right? So just a very brief overview of our organization. Our organization is not actually Mad Lions. We're Overactive Media. Overactive Media has several businesses. One of them is Mad Lions. We're, according to Forbes, one of the 12 largest esports organizations worldwide. We just went public to the stock market last year in June on the Toronto Stock Exchange. We're very focused on having esports teams in franchise leagues, so kind of like you would have franchise leagues in North American traditional sports where you pay the franchise and the slot is yours, right? And you cannot relegate or whatever. We do the same thing. We have 3 offices. Our global headquarters is in Toronto. Our European headquarters is here in Madrid. And then we have a small office in Berlin as well. Just so you get an idea, obviously it's a very different size, but that's kind of the business model that we're after. We're eSports and entertainment group, just the same way that a Crunkey Sports and Entertainment or a Madison Square Garden or Maple Leafs are the same thing to traditional sports. So we own different regional-based franchise teams. We own franchises and leagues, or sometimes even our shareholders in those leagues. We own media and entertainment businesses like our events business, Overactive Media Live, and our content production studio, Overactive Originals. And then we also have a facility business, which is OAM Arena, which is this stadium that you're seeing in the back, which it's basically, this is the stadium. And then we have also a 40-story hotel tower that we're building in the city center of Toronto that is going to be optimized for esports, but 90% of the time it's going to be used for other sorts of entertainment, concerts, etc. Right? It's a 7,000 seat facility, so it's not huge, obviously, but it's decently sized, I would say. Mad Lions, concretely, is the brand that operates out of Madrid and the brand that we have for the whole of Europe and as well as Latin America. It's kind of a bit of a different brand in esports, where we try to go away from the stereotypical esports branding of everything's dark and everything's neon lights and players looking, you know, angry and menacing to the camera and stuff like that. And we try to embrace more our Mediterranean and Hispanic culture of being happy and being, you know, youthful and carefree and so on. So, you know, that's kind of about Mad Lions as a brand, okay? So you get an idea of our numbers. It's, and then we'll jump over to the Metaverse part. So we have on our corporate accounts, we have over 1.2 million followers. Our players have around 450,000 followers, although that's grown now with a few new players that we've brought on board. And then we have influencers that are part also of our teams who have more than 124 million followers. In terms of age groups, and this normally shocks people, people normally have this stereotypical image that esports is for kids, right? But only 5% of our followers are underage. 40% are 18 to 24, and then the bulk of it, 43%, are 25 to 34, with 12% being 35 and over. So we have more people following us who are 35 and over than underage, actually. It's very heavily skewed towards male fans, although we're seeing how this is slowly growing on the female side, not as fast as we would like, quite frankly, but we think in a few years it's going to be way more balanced, actually. And so, here comes the question. So, how can esports intersect with the metaverse, right? And first of all, like, what do we see as the metaverse? Because it's a term that gets thrown around quite easily, right? And it's not very defined, right? So, metaverse is actually anything that's a digital world, right? Metaverse is Fortnite is technically a metaverse, right? Any game, Second Life is a metaverse. Anything that's digital where you can interact is kind of a way of a metaverse, right? What we are calling metaverse, though, or what people are calling metaverse these days, is something that wasn't so feasible before, which is one of these virtual worlds built on a blockchain, right? And the reason why it's different when it's built on a blockchain is that you can actually have ownership over the digital assets that are in that metaverse. When you are playing Fortnite, you buy a skin for your character to play with, you don't own that skin, right? You've paid for that, and Fortnite is deciding to show it to you, but nothing stops them from taking that out, and it's not actually something that you own, right? You cannot take that skin and then use it on the next Epic Games game that they release, right? It's there, and you don't really have any claims to it, right? Whereas if we would take the example of a skin on a metaverse built on a blockchain, right, or in a digital world built on a blockchain, you could take that skin and it's a file that is on a system called IPFS, which your NFT says that you're one of the X amount of owners to that file, and there's not more of them. And you can take that file and move it over to any other metaverse or game that supports it, and you can use it there. So in other words, it's a digital asset that you actually own, right? Blockchain, one of the things it solves is digital ownership over assets, right? And so, we had it very clear that, from the moment that the first metaverses like Decentraland and the Sandbox started picking up some steam, that we needed to be there for one very simple reason, and it's that our audience is natively digital, right? So we've always, even when we were starting our ideas around our stadium in Toronto, we were thinking, what is the expression of a stadium for today's generation of fans, right? Because it doesn't necessarily need to be the same as a football stadium, right? Because that's for yesterday's generation of fans, right? But what is that equivalent, right? We're building this stadium because it's a good business opportunity for many other reasons as well, but we were thinking there must be something that is as revolutionary to that experience of going to a stadium to watch a game physically as esports has been revolutionary in being a competitive form of entertainment that is purely digital, right? So when we started seeing these things, we said, okay, this is what we were talking about, right? This is that experience that we're talking about that's purely digital, and that's the equivalent to that esports is to traditional sports. So first thing we did was look for a partner, and we signed Zilliqa, which is a blockchain, as our blockchain and metaverse partner. The reason why we went with Zilliqa is because it is the blockchain with the least carbon footprint impact. So one transaction on Zilliqa has the you would need to do 150 transactions on Zilliqa to have the same impact on the environment as one WhatsApp message or one tweet, right? And this was very important to us because we saw that our fans care deeply about the environment, and it's one of their main criticism with blockchain. So we wanted to make sure that if we do this, we do it in a way that they see us, right? So first thing, get a partner that can help us here, because we're not, Overactive Media, our business is not the blockchain, so we need a partner for that, right? Second step is, creating that metaverse space. So the good thing about Zilliqa as well, which is another reason why we partnered with them, is that they have built this thing called Metapolis, which is a metaverse as a service, right? So it's basically this platform where you can build your own space, right? And it's isolated from the rest in a way, but it's also interconnected from other spaces other people do, right? And you can build it on these guys kind of like as a platform, right? And I cannot share much about this, but on how it's going to be, right? And what features it's going to have, because we will leave that for an announcement in a few months. But basically the way we see these metaverses, or the way they add value to our relationship with our fans, is the same way that, say, Discord, or do you guys know Discord? Yes? Great. the same way that a Discord or a Twitter adds value, right? These are tools that are there to create a connection between your fans and your players, or your fans and the club or your brand, right? And that connection is just so much stronger when it's in somewhere where you have your avatar and you can actually do things and interact in certain ways, than if it's just, you know, a list of chat messages with bubbles that show an avatar profile, right? That's the reason why in Face example of Fortnite, you know, they were able to drive so much revenue in such a little time, because that's just such a more engaging way to interact with your customers, right? So we see it as the same thing. For us, doing things on a digital space like a metaverse is to us the new Discord, the Discord 2.0, the community management 2.0 for us, because it allows us to engage in such a powerful way with our fans, right? And then, you know, how do you bring brands into this? Because at the end of the day, we're a business, right? We need to make money out of every single effort we do, because otherwise, you know, we die as a company. So how do you make money out of being in the metaverse as a rights holder, right? As someone like Mad Lions, or as someone like a sports team, or like a singer, or like an influencer, etc., right? Well, you need to, it's kind of the same thing as always, but you cannot do the same things as always. So conceptually, it's the same thing. You need to figure out, you know, out of the things that the brand that I'm activating with represents, and out of the values that they add to our fans, how can we translate that into the metaverse, right? And I saw, I don't know if it was 2 weeks ago or so, that one fast food chain was going to be selling fries on the metaverse, and that's just like, yeah, I mean, that's not how you do it, right? What you need to think is, what is the equivalent of the value I'm providing in the physical space in a digital space? And it's not selling digital fries, right? It's something else. But you need to figure that out, right? So you need to figure that out with your brand. So for example, in our case, 2 of our sponsors are Warner Music and Imagine, right? Imagine is the digital brand of CaixaBank, 4.4 million customers in Spain. CaixaBank is the largest bank in Spain. I mean, 4.4 is Imagine, not Caixa, obviously. And so, for example, with Warner Music, one thing that we're looking at is in our metaverse space, where we attract our fans, and we're the force that brings those fans in, bringing in singers of theirs, right, and doing concerts there. So there, you know, we're looking at having digital merch, right, in the form of like NFTs from those artists and from ourselves that can be sold there, right? And then on the other hand, so how do you bring in Imagine, right? So with Imagine, we have this Imagine card, which if you download the Imagine app and you go in the gaming section, you'll see the Mad Lions card. It's their best-selling card, by the way. And you know, what we're doing there is holders of that card will get access to kind of like a meet and greet with the singer after the concert and so on. So you need to think about, you know, ways that make sense to add value, right? You're not going to put a digital cashier there because, you know, that doesn't make sense, or things like that, right? So just think about those things, right? How does it make sense to bring them over? And then something that's very powerful here is that COVID has changed the way that we interact with fans in many ways, right? Because we don't do as many live events anymore. We don't do as many, you know, physical meet and greets. People have gotten very used to doing everything online. So this is a very powerful tool to do things here that are different. And especially if you're soon to this, it's also a very good PR opportunity, right? Because if you're doing things that haven't been done before, I mean, the moment there's, you know, the 300th concert has been thrown on a metaverse, then it's no news anymore, right? It's old. But if you're early to this, you know, it's also a very good PR moment for a brand that collaborates with us. Fan events, right? So, you know, we would usually do things like for example, on our League of Legends team, League of Legends is one of the games we participate in. We have our main team, which competes in Europe, and then we have our academy team, right, which competes in the regional league here in Spain, right? So one of the things we would do sometimes is throw like a viewing party with some fans where our players from the academy team would be watching the match with our fans on Discord and like commenting and stuff like that, right? So doing these things on the metaverse and having this guy be the avatar of a certain player and of another player and so on just makes our fans feel potentially so much more engaged with them, because they're not physically with them, but they're digitally with them much more than if it's just, you know, a message where you're not hearing the voice of that person, you're not seeing them in any way, etc., right? And what we plan on doing is, special areas where we can do meet and greets, where we can, our fans can play games with our players, right? Because inside of the metaverse, you can implement different games and different mechanics of, gamification of the experiences. So being able to actually do things with them beyond just, talking and, because you can talk with whoever influencer you like if you write them on Twitter and they reply to you or whatever, right? It's not a special feature, but the fact that you can now do things that are more interactive, that's what adds value, right? And that's what engages your community. So, and then, in terms of merchandise, in terms of merchandise, if you think about it, I don't remember how many billions Fortnite makes or League of Legends makes per year selling skins. So literally, selling you a pair of shoes or pants or whatever that are green instead of the blue ones you get or whatever, right? And they make billions out of that, right? And so that's selling merch, right? That's like, it's basically the equivalent to when, to when you, I don't know, you buy a nice new watch and you wear it because you like it and, and it's nice or whatnot, or you have your new car and you drive it, or you dress in a certain way because that's the way you feel and that's the way you want people to perceive you and so on. The same thing happens in the digital world, right? Why not? We spend more time in the digital world than in the physical world, so theoretically we should be investing more into that than into the physical items, right? And the likes of game developers or games publishers have realized that, and they started selling in-game skins and such, but that has not been available to the rest of companies, right? I cannot go and sell a Mad Lions jersey on the Epic store of Fortnite because I can't. It's a closed ecosystem. It all belongs to them. And even if I would sell it, I would not really be selling it because my fans wouldn't own it, right? Here on the metaverse, or on blockchain-based metaverses, since it's open ecosystems, I can really put, all my merchandise into it, and my players can now show their fandomness for Mad Lions in a digital space, not just in a physical space, right? Or I can do things like, if you buy the physical one, you get the digital one for free, right? Whereas I'm sure that in a few years we'll be saying the opposite, right? But these are other things you can also do here, right? But this works for us. This might not work for most of other companies, because in our case, wearing your team's jersey or a hoodie or a cap or whatever it is a way to express that you support the team, that you're proud to be part of that team, right? And then last but not least, digital fan clubs and fan tokens. So I was talking about how, this is the Imagine card of Mad Lions, about how this is kind of like being a member of a social club or a fan club of Mad Lions when you purchase it. You can have this digitally as well, which is much more, it's much more flexible, because at the end of the day, the only way you have, for example, with this card, you can go to gaming centers and buy at a discount. You can purchase peripherals of our sponsor brands like Reyes at a discount and so on. But the only way you have to really show you are a member of this thing is showing your card. With your card, you might not be an active member anymore because maybe you're not paying the subscription anymore. And I haven't. This is no advice, of course, to do that. But no one can really prove that you actually still are a member of this club, right? Whereas if you have an NFT, right, that is just very easy to see, right? And it's also very easy to integrate with the digital experience. I have very few ways, and the ways that I have are extremely complicated to integrate, of moving this physical card into a digital experience so that you validate that you're part of this in a digital environment, and that we can give you any sort of perks and so on. Whereas with an NFT, that's trivial to do. That's extremely easy, right? And then you have the fan token side, which is kind of like a currency that you can use to reward your fans. A lot of properties are using fan tokens as kind of like a way to raise money and whatnot. The way we see it is a very different way. It's like a loyalty program, right? We're giving you points, and those points are MAD tokens or whatever they may be, right? And then you can redeem them for special experiences, right? Most of these experiences on blockchain, and with that I'll finish, normally work if you go at them with a mindset that's not a cash grab, right? That's about creating sustainable and long-term value, not just seeing how can I make a bit of money here out of this, and then I'll do it again in a different way, and so on, right? So yeah, that's about it. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you, Jorge. And next up is Yasir. He is the COO of KwikTrust, and he is going to introduce us to that concept that Jorge just mentioned, NFTs, fan tokens, and what all those words mean in today Metaverse and universe.
Thank you.
Yasir, all yours.
Hi guys, my name is Yasir, and I'll be talking about fan tokens today. I think it's been a great segue into this, what I'm going to talk about. So you guys all understand Metaverse and fan tokens now? Yeah?
Sort of.
No pressure. Do you guys know what NFT is? Yeah, that's great. How many of you own an NFT actually? Oh, that's great. Any board apes? No. All right. Okay. Fine. That's good. Right. So it's BtoB is one of the most expensive sort of NFT. They're going for around $500,000, and it's a picture of a monkey. It's a picture of a monkey basically. So if you're interested in some art, digital art, that's where you want to invest your money. Not a financial advice, by the way. Okay. So.
How much are the kitties sold?
Oh, kitties are for 12 each, so probably $25,000, $30,000. So yeah. Oh no, yeah, and there are others which go for $75,000 or $80,000. So pick your poison, choose your poison. So what is a fan token? The last presenter touched on what a fan token is. I'll give you a little bit more into what a fan token is. Basically, it's a blockchain-based token. And it can be issued on any blockchain. Basically, there are fair few layer 1 solutions currently that do that, and Ethereum is not the only one. Fan tokens allow you certain privileges that which may not be available to you. So currently, what fan tokens do is if you're a supporter of the team, say for example in this esport, you issue them with a fan token, and they can exchange those tokens for merchandise, for tickets, for exclusive NFTs within that space, and then you build onto that experience for those fans. So it's not a cash grab, it's more for building community and giving something back for the community to interact with. How we have done it at KwikTrust is that we have allocated a certain proportion of our tokens. So this is going into a bit of a token design, token model, tokenomics of the whole your business. That if you are engaging with our tweets, if you're engaging with our feeding, if you're engaging with our product, you'll get rewarded fan tokens. And what that do is there's a certain value associated with that. Whatever the market value of the token is, you can then exchange it into real money. So for esports, I would say that if you're an esport organization, you give it to your followers. They can then exchange it for merch. I'm a massive believer that it's not the future, but now people are buying digital goods. Adidas came up with hoodies, digital hoodies, and I think in the next couple of months, or even in 12, 18 months, we'll all be buying digital merch, and the physical merch will be just thrown in, because it's because Rolex is no longer a social currency, right? A JPEG, an NFT is a social currency. So if you go on Twitter, how many of you guys use Twitter? Okay, so have you seen the new hexagonal profile pictures? Yeah, so what you can do is if you buy an NFT, you can represent that as a profile picture, and because it's an NFT, it'll give you a hexagonal sort of like profile picture, which is essentially a social currency, which basically is telling people, hey, look at me, I own an NFT. And this is the proof that I own an NFT. So, Lamborghinis are out of the way, no more Rolexes. So if you have Rolex, probably sell it and buy an NFT. Again, not a financial advice, but that's just me. So again, fan tokens, you can choose different blockchains to do that. We have partnered with Nair, and we're building on Nair. It's, I want to say this, it's carbon neutral. So there is no carbon at all. And we're working with a project, which is a wildlife project. And we are working on Super NFT with them. I'll touch on Super NFT because that's the key thing. So some of the benefits of fan tokens is ability to purchase some merchandise, which will be available in your store. and the second point is voting. This is a real key one for me, because when you build a community, you can source your marketing through your community, right? So if, say for example, you want to decide between 5 logos, and if your community holds that tokens, they can then use those as a voting mechanism within that. So you can crowdsource all of these things from your community. Exclusive access to fan rewards and prizes, early access to events and releases, and of course we touched on social currency. The whole concept behind NFTs and building those out is that everyone saw your clip, and it was pretty powerful, right? And it was, it gave me goosebumps. So if I was an eSport fan and I was, hardcore into Vexed, I would want to own that piece of clip, right? And I can now own it using an NFT. You can sell it. You can actually monetize on that. You can produce a video clip that people, the winning moment, right? So I'm a massive fan of cricket. There was a game in Sharjah, decades ago, and it was last ball, 6 runs needed. Pakistan-India game, of course, the tension's quite high, and the last ball there was a 6. That clip is legendary clip, right? And if someone could own that clip, people will pay millions of dollars to own that clip, and that has now become possible, right? Using NFTs and fan tokens. So, super NFT. What the heck is a super NFT, right? I'm going to tell you. Currently, what happens is that when you own an NFT, it's a JPEG, right? Very few people will have the ability to go onto the blockchain to check whether that is authentic or not, right? So what we have done is we have applied for a patent for super NFT, which what does is that the issuing body or the creator of it can digitally sign it, and their identity is attached to the NFT. So if you think about a piece of art, you can digitally sign it, the artist can digitally sign it, and it's forever logged onto blockchain that they are the creator, and then the provenance of that can keep going. Now, the reason for this is that we want to move out of the JPEG space, board monkeys or kitties and things like that, and we want to put things like properties on NFTs, right? So whether it's digital land or physical land, or if a gaming body is issuing an NFT, they can stamp it with Vexed, for example, and everyone will know it was issued by them, and it'll be forever be on the blockchain. There is a lot of debate in the NFT space where you can right-click a JPEG and mint it. I've been in blockchain space since 2016, 2017, and I almost bought a fake JPEG of NFT because I thought that was a real one, and there was no way of checking it unless you go into the blockchain explorer and see where it's coming from, whether it's minted, and then OpenSea has got its own issues. Does anyone know about OpenSea? Yeah, OpenSea is a marketplace, one of the biggest marketplaces for trading NFTs, and they have a whole suite of issues. They are centralized, by the way. If you're thinking they're not centralized, they are centralized, and the JPEGs don't sit on IPFS, which it should sit. It's all centralized database. So the super NFT, basically, if you buy an NFT, you have very little rights, and the contracts, people can issue more NFTs. Basically, if they flood the market with the NFTs, the value goes because it's supply and demand. So the super NFT basically makes it more secure and more usable, and it sort of provides valid proof of ownership, and it locks it to the proof of origination or on chain, basically, which you can't change. So that's what super NFT does, and I'm really excited about it. So what does that mean for super NFTs and fan tokens? So communities right now, by the way, I'm on Reddit, and is it true that the gaming fans dislike NFTs? Does anyone have any credible data on that? Because Reddit does not like it. No? Okay, so that's good. So we are all in the same space that sporting fans, they like NFTs and fan tokens. Security and authentication, esporting teams can issue super NFTs and they can stamp their name to it, and thus proving on chain that they are the issuing authority behind it. it gives a community a sense of camaraderie, and fans will feel close to the team, and exclusive rights such as voting. I spoke about participating in giveaways and things like that. So it sort of acts as building your community rather than earning any money for esporting teams. It's to bring them more closer. I know we had a conversation, and you said the engagement within the esporting is quite low. What's happened in the blockchain ecosystem is that people are getting used to the kids nowadays. I'm 35, by the way, so I'm not part of that generation. I know how to pay for stuff and get stuff, but the younger generation want it for free. So that's how you engage them. That's how you bring them. And issuing a token on blockchain, your own fan token, is becoming a good sort of way of engaging more communities and bringing them together. A lot of football teams are doing that nowadays. And they're giving exclusive rights to, if the tickets are released, they'll be the first ones to get in. If there's a merch out, if you hold their NFT, you'll be the first one. You'll call the first dibs, so no more waiting for them in a long queue to get. I was trying to get tickets for the World Cup, and it was like 2 hours wait, and then the browser crashed, and then again you start, that sort of thing. So that pain of it is no longer there, because if you hold an NFT, you can get in. I hold an NFT which is of a club in London, which is a crypto club. So as part of the holder, I get rights to the club. I can attend events and so on and so forth for free. So for me, that's the usability. That's what the NFT represents. And it's not just a picture of a JPEG. There's a utility behind it, and it's for the team to decide what utility comes with that token, and how you skin it. So tradable super NFTs, we have partnered recently with Gamer Hash. They are purely sports or gaming based marketplace. So they don't do anything else, but they invest in sporting esports. They partner with esports teams. They also sponsor events, esport events, and that's their focus. So we can provide, as KwikTrust, we can provide a whole ecosystem for gaming, from fan tokens on blockchain to super NFTs on the same chain, and then listing them onto exchanges if people want to trade that. So that's where we fit in. And that's more of the same, I think. And I think that's pretty much me, I think. And if you have any questions, please give me a shout. I'll be happy to talk. I'll be hanging around. So yeah, thank you very much.
And now, well, we are all business owners, entrepreneurs, investors. So yeah, all this is very cool. We have lots of communities, we have lots of fans, but how we monetize that? And even though we have had some hints from Yasir and from Pay, Vicky from Sportskred is going to tell us a bit more on how to really monetize all those communities and all that business behind the sport. So Vicky, all yours. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks again, Miguel and Pay, for inviting me. Well, anyone ever heard about Sportskred? Don't be shy. Not really. Oh, come on, guys. That's why I'm here. Yes. That's why I'm here. So I want to ask a few questions to know you guys more, okay? Speaking Spanish or English, oh good. We have Spanish speaker, Javier, over there. My husband plus our team CEO, CTO, co-founder is also here, Jerome. So he's a French speaker. Feel free to speak any kind of language. Will anyone play any game title on personal computer? Please raise your hand. Okay, that's the next question. So really? No one? Oh, okay. We should do more. We should do more events. Anyone ever play any game title on mobile? Please raise your hand. Okay, it's getting better. Next question. Anyone ever share any content about gaming on social media? Well done, Pei. I think, please, feel free to I'm sure there are more. Next question. Anyone ever stream on Twitch. That's a tough one. You guys see that? That's why he's my husband. TikTok, where's Soya from TikTok? Or she's not here. I will let her answer that. TikTok is short form video platform. It's not really live streaming, right? Okay, agree? Okay. How many of you are the management team of any esports organization? Raise your hand, please. Okay. So the reason why I asked this question, is actually very important. Quite a lot of us belong to this community, and we constantly ask about how to create a new digital media asset for monetizing as a team, as an owner. Or you probably be thinking about, okay, I'm going to start my own esports enterprise tomorrow, running a Fortnite team or Counter-Strike team. But how to get started? How to use your very own lean resources to create a new digital media asset. Hence, it can be your network, and it can be a new revenue stream. The answer is actually, it's all based on your community. So first thing first, you need to know, who are the member of this community, because by recognizing this will be the most effective and scalable revenue stream for your team, your organization. Jose, do you agree in a way? Okay. Before we talk about all this, the methodology to monetize your team, your organization, we should also look into the global esports revenue, okay? So we're talking about esports here, which means competitive sports electronically. This number is actually purely focusing on esports. We're not including gaming, we're not including other type of gamified learning into this market. But by only focusing on esports, the number is crazy already. Well, that's the eye test for the last line in the back, you can see that. I think people can help me, probably Miguel can help me to read the number out for having everyone all on the same platform. Guess how much is the revenue last year for the whole esports global landscape? Anyone knows the answer? So it's
1.1 billion.
Exactly. Crazily, last year, the esports global revenue had surpassed over $1 billion already. It's not too big, right? Isn't? We can do better. Yeah. Not too bad already, come on, okay. And in 2024, it's forecast to be over $1.6 billion. So crazily, with a huge growth rate. And very interestingly, guess what's the biggest segment in the esports global revenue? We're on the slides, right? Look at the slides.
Sponsorship.
Exactly. So over 60% of the global esports revenue actually came from sponsorship. Anyone knows about sponsorship here? Or Javier, that's why he's my colleague. Because sponsorship is actually a term, probably quite a lot of people, if you're coming from traditional sports, you heard about it, which means a brand partner dedicated some sort of revenue for the team, organization, for their jersey to be included, logo, that you can actually see them on TV, on social channel, or in person, in the stadium as well. So people are actually investing how many eyeball has seen your logo on that player's jersey. And very importantly, for esports organization, or nowadays, or young kids don't watch TV anymore. Or you could ask your kids, probably 12-year-old, 10-year-old, they don't watch TV anymore, which would be sad because I'm actually coming from a bit like cinema TV background. It's a sad story for me, but that's why we also need to move to the esports vertical to learn from the young people. They actually build everything on digital, which means social and streaming platform. So quite a lot of revenue actually coming from brand partner pull certain amount of revenue for the esports team to drive the awareness using their player, using their content creator on social and streaming channels. That's the biggest revenue stream nowadays. And if you look into the number, in 2017, it's actually about $266 million. That's 5 years ago. And it grew all the way to $641 million with the growth rate of, if you're really quick at math, that's about 141% growth rate. Miguel, do you feel that's kind of, well, it's pretty much like 1.5 times of the revenue. And in any commercial space, it's a huge driving force. And it's forecast to be the continuous, kind of biggest revenue stream in the esports industry. And meanwhile, if we benchmark the market influence, okay. Another year, dinner time is waiting, but we're going to talk about, meanwhile, if we benchmark the market influence of the influencer marketing sector, it's actually much bigger, where it's forecast to grow to 16.4 billion this year. And over 75% of the brand marketer actually have some sort of budget. Okay, so people will be thinking about how can I get my brand BtoB, be kind of like interactive on social, on streaming channel, using various influencers in the news sector as well. And this influencer marketing is constantly linked to the creators economy. Everyone heard about creators economy? Raise your hand. So Yasir is the one talking about it, previously about fan token activation. And very importantly, quite a lot of creators are yearning to get into esports. Do you guys know why? Because the most authentic and most influential ambassador live in this industry. They're pretty much like, some cool rock music star in a sense, or from the movie industry, probably, people see them as a famous actress. They have a tribe of fans tattoo their name or their team. Say Vexed Gaming could have a bunch of fans tattoo Vex or Mark, the famous player. And Mad Lions, still here? They could also have some fan tattoo with the, the band on it. And it's so royal. And this authentic kind of like, sense of community and also that kind of engagement is exactly influencer marketing was made for. So how to leverage all this in order to get into the bigger market share for esports organization is actually super key, very vital. Well, we talk about two biggest segments globally. One is sponsorship, the biggest revenue stream in esports nowadays. The other is influencer marketing, how to tap in, how to dig into. The smart way to do it, I'm sure probably quite a lot of esports organizer, management team are thinking about is, I should actually position my esports community as a crossover, as an intersection for this gigantic market. And how to do that? In the digital space, if you can build your esports community digitally using social and streaming channel, is the fastest way to grow a ubiquitous, a universal platform without time, without language, without location limitation. So how to do that will be key. And doing that, you can actually access to your esports community effortlessly and digitally. And this esports community is going to become your own ambassador network, which means your influencer network. Does anyone know about the difference between influencer and ambassador? Wandering eyes? Anyone want to give it a try? No, okay. I actually got a lot of friends in the industry, pretty much just tell me directly, wouldn't it be the same thing? Influencer equals ambassador. Yes and no, actually not really. So influencer is an individual, normally works with multiple brands. So literally Miguel can be influencer for BMW and Mercedes or, McLaren, racing car. Yasir could be influencer for Mad Lions plus Vexed Gaming. So which means no individual can work with any kind of brand as much as they want. Multiple, in a way, short-term campaign, long-term campaign. But if we talk about ambassador, it's much more petty, in a way, quite precious. So say that, okay, this gentleman, what's your name? Javier, also another Javier. We can mention, okay, if Javier, what's your favorite brand? You know, cross your mind. Coca-Cola. So Javier wants to be Coca-Cola's ambassador. What does that mean? It means that he has some sort of delicacy, ambassador brand affinity towards Coca-Cola. You probably have a tattoo somewhere. We haven't seen it on the back. So Javier will only work with Coca-Cola exclusively. No, if Pepsi come to me, offer me $1 billion, no, sorry. It's just not my type, not my cup of tea. So that's ambassador. Like you're not going to say, oh, Chanel influencer, right, ladies? You're going to say, I'm the Liou ambassador. I'm the Chanel ambassador, because that's more long-term, more dedicated. You feel are really strong. You are really a royal tribal fan with tattoo somewhere for that brand. And for all the esports team and brand, they're looking for ambassadors, not only for influencer. Okay? So that's the difference. So knowing that, it will be crucial for us to get into the next step. We talk about how to build your influencer network. Using the community is key. Then the question is, tell me how. How to create, how to manage this ambassador network effectively. Okay, digitally, across social, across streaming channels. How to do that? Well, our software actually can help you to do that. I used to work with Microsoft. I used to work with like IBM, this kind of tech company. So quite a lot of tech company will tell you, oh, we're the best, but never trust them. Never trust someone tell you they are the best. The reason is you need to actually have a use case, practical approach to help any stakeholder in the industry to do things in a very simple manner. And that's the best way. So if I ask Pei or Jose from Milan's, who potentially will be an influencer, ambassador in the network, what kind of element you'll be thinking about? Who we can get on board to?
Well, Mark, Steve, a lot. We know them.
So the name Pei just shared with us, Mark is the player who is also the chief gaming officer. So he's kind of like, hardcore player and migrate to a chief gaming officer role in the sense. And the other one's actually a player. The reason is, quite a lot of fans. I think Yasir also talked about, fans actually are the cornerstone of the community, because they will be supporting you. They'll be tweeting what you're doing, all day, and they will even exchange activity. Pretty much like groupies, in a way. So they will be chasing the team, but not only the team. They're looking for the big player, that superstar player or creator to work with, and they will be supporting them all the way. So indeed, inviting player, inviting creator into the network is the key step. And not even that. We can also think about your own staff, your own, fan, and even the family of fans. You can bring, like a son and kids, daughter, boys and girls into the network. So any influential individual you actually know within your organization, you can bring them on board. And that's very cost effective in a way, right? So Javier, would you like to work with Coca-Cola if they offer you some kind of like ambassador role? Maybe, yeah, think about it. Okay, so let's get to the next point. After you created the ambassador network, the key thing is, since this ambassador network will literally become your media asset, then how to monetize it? There are 4 key elements. Number 1, you need to know your audience. Who are the ambassadors? player, creators, or creator's wife, creator's family. Or could be Lady Gaga actually knows someone, and she's happy to be invited into your network. You never know. Or even, Messi could be the big player who is also esports advocate. So you need to explore who could be invited. You need to know the audience insights, including the demographics like gender, age, the location, the language they speak, what brand affinity they actually own, which means what brand they love, what kind of lifestyle they constantly yearn for. Could be, for creative media or for racing, for high fashion, you need to know them. Then the next step, after inviting your player, creators, those ambassadors on board, you will need to know how they perform on social and streaming channels, including, how big is the followership? What's the average like of that specific social and streaming channel? And also, very importantly, we need to know, are their followers all authentic? You guys must have heard about that story, like fake bots following people. So our algorithm can actually help you to look into those factors nicely. Then you can aggregate and you can actually know, how they perform on those elements. Then we'll help you to come out with some sort of like valuation, monetary rate card for you to drive that success. And of course, number 3, you need to have some sort of like professional tools, expert tools to help you drive that. Then based on the metrics we talk about, we can then actually use the tool to have a trackable results, analytics, and report to help you to present that to the brand partner to have very clear communication for that. So I know I overrun a little bit, so I'm going to pass this bar, because our solution is actually built on those 4 pillars based on the factor I share with you. If you look into the previous slide, you guys know that already. So the best way to know the solution by seeing is to believe. So I'm going to share the video with you.
With eSportskred, rights holders and sponsors are changing the dimension of their social media audience. How? By combining the social media accounts of their players and ambassadors to create a highly valuable private network for marketing and sponsorship campaigns. A network that reaches huge audiences across every major social platform and streaming site. Simply invite your players and ambassadors to your branded eSportskred platform. They connect via the app, providing them with insights on their own audience whilst growing your private social network. A network that is, on average, 8 times more engaged than your own social. You can view vital audience data, while eSportskred values your network in real time. Activating the network is simple. Create your campaign, select your players and ambassadors, and send. They receive your content via the app and post to their social channels. Platform analytics show who's posted and how effective it was, saving hours in reporting. And it's entirely customized to your brand. So, isn't it time to revolutionize your marketing and sponsorship on social?
Well, based on the bot sharing, our team actually believes the future for any esports communication and monetization is all based upon building your own ambassador network. Then you need to communicate and actually connect to your community. And based on that, you can actually activate together with your brand partner. And the revenue can be double, triple, and even 10 times. All right, guys, if you've got any questions, feel free to say hi to us. We have our team there. So any question is welcome. I'm going to pass to the next speaker, Soya. All right, thank you, guys.
So thank you, Vicky. And once again, we're business owners, we're entrepreneurs, and there's been a shift, as we have heard, from TV, cinema, to other kind of platforms to consume things. We don't watch, well, we do, but younger generations don't watch so much TV, don't go to the cinema. So there's something that we business owners and entrepreneurs and companies do when something doesn't go the way we want. We pivot, or we try to pivot. And now with Kinépolis, Alberto García, BtoB account manager, is going to tell us a bit more about that and how a cinema or a cinema chain can also embrace new platforms, new things, and esports. Alberto, all yours.
Do you know, last year there were almost 730 million esport viewers? 730 million. This is so crazy that we need to put into perspective, taking in account in the United States, 79 million watches baseball, the Major League Baseball, versus 84 million watches esport. Esports is a reality, and global esport revenues will grow to 1 billion in 2022. You know that we are all agree that events offer unique opportunity to brands, partners, and sponsors. And esports also had the same case. Teams, players, and fans are looking forward to coming together. So for that, I will introduce that publishers design different type of games, and these games are focused on a variety of ages and ranges. This type of game that mainly there are Cs, we are going to show you the main well-known brand about that. Many of my colleagues haven't spoken about this type of games and their characteristics. We need to understand, mainly we can say about Call of Duty, like it's a shooter game, also League of Legends, that is a multiplayer, 5 versus 5 teams. Also FIFA 22, or any type of real games, as NBA, 2K. Apart from that, we have Battle Royale as Fortnite. Many of my partners talking about Fortnite is really famous. But also we have World of Craft in a real-time strategy games. And the last one about mobile platform, a Clash Royale, a collective card games. So we need to understanding to cross and to check with the audience. So apart from that, regarding events, there are a lot of tournaments, including World Championships, of all types of games. Many players take part. One of the most important about that is Fortnite World Championship and League of Legends World Championships. This picture is from League of Legends World Championships in a football stadium. A detail that we need to take important about that is the prize money. So, for example, last season, the prize money for Fortnite was $100 million. $100 million for a game tournament. So this is so important, it's a reality. Or maybe the Dota 2, it is also a shooter, $25 million as a prize money. It's so important that this type of tournaments are held in amazing locations around the world. For example, in China, we have the Shanghai Stadium with more than 66,000 seats capacity. Or maybe in Europe, the Commerzbank Bank Arena in Germany is almost 50,000 seats. So venues even are so struggling in esports that we need to take account for Kinépolis. We have been waiting to join esports for the last couple of years, and we decided right now. But fairly, I'm going to tell you why. I would like to introduce a little bit about us, about Kinépolis, who we are in a global dimension. We're an international brand. We have presence all over the countries, mainly in Europe, where in some countries as Belgium, France, Switzerland, obviously Spain. But apart from that, we are also in Canada, 45% of our cinemas, and in Canada we are the proud owner of Landmark Cinema, and also in the United States we operate with the MGR brand. All of this is about more than 100 cinemas around the world. And in Spain, we have 8 cinemas located in the main cities, Madrid, Barcelona, Valencia, Granada, and Alicante. Why Kinépolis? Why our facilities for events, for eSport events? First of all, because we have unit rooms for a variety from 100 to 1,000 seats. We have small rooms for a small tournament, for small events, but we can grow up until 1,000 seats for the biggest one. Apart from that, we have a professional team, well experienced, and if you combine your unique events, your unique details, and a strong team, you are so perfect to offer this quality of service. This is so that, in fact, we are official partner for technological events as Google Summits, Microsoft INI Tour, and also Amazon, because we build our own venues looking for held corporate events, conferences, and fairs. Well, eSports and Kinépolis, and why? If you visit any Kinépolis venue, you realize that our state-of-the-art images and sound, do you know really well, is the latest one. So this is so easy to connect with eSport, what eSport needs. We need big screen, the amazing sound. We have already this with our new rooms. So I have prepared a short video to show you the Kinépolis experience about that. So we believe so strong that Kinépolis is the perfect location for any type of eSport events that we have launched our own eSport project, the X Series. The X Series is a family fair that will offer different types of activities and will be in 5 Kinépolis in a national tour this year and the next one. Regarding the activities, we have designing, we've studied in depth about our all people that are coming, including tournaments and contests, keep-up contents, also sim racing, arcade, and sponsor exhibition. Also, we are going to focus on educational background. The tournament will be for the 4 main games. We started with a previous online qualifying, and offline in the Kinépolis venue, there will be the finals. The dates are only confirmed. We are starting in September 2022 in Kinépolis, Granada, and then we are moving to our national tour in Alicante, Barcelona, Valencia, and a final stop in Madrid, right here. But the main question, why? Why Kinépolis? Why X Series? First of all, we are going to introduce an educational background. We are going to teach and learn for families about different types of topics, educational, nutrition, new technologies. In fact, the police department, National Police Department, will attend to speak with the families about safe technology and internet. Be careful, they are going to talk to parents. Apart from that, they are going to talk to children. So this is really important in our case. The unit rooms, so maybe you are going to any gamer fair and you have been a dramatic battle between the speakers trying to get visitor attention. So this is not possible in Kinépolis. We're going to design any room with any activity. So maybe you are playing in the Fortnite rooms. Apart from that, you are going to a conference about nutrition or new technology in another room. So they are going to be isolate noise, so you can focus on your desirable activity. The state of arts, so you are coming to a room to enjoy an experience with a floor-to-wall screen, Dolby surround around that, just to play in Fortnite, League of Legends, so it will be amazing. And we are support of this with our powerful communication, Kinépolis screen advertising. Any brands, any sponsor, any teams are going to be able to promote their brands in the cinemas screen advertising. So when all of this, we are sure that we are focused on being the new generation events experience for everyone. So this is all our project. Thank you very much for everyone. If you have any doubt, feel free to question.
Okay, so last but not least talk of the day would be about influencers and influencers marketing and how that relates to the power of the esports communities. So Soya from TikTok is going to explain us a bit more about that.
Hi everyone, lovely to meet you, and thanks for the intro and for the invite, obviously. So my name is Soraya Castellanos and I lead the content community and partnerships team at TikTok Spain. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about community, which is a really good segue for what Vicky was talking about, creators, you talk about ambassadors, and I'm going to talk about content as well and like how you can make the most out of the platform for, I know you're all running different businesses. Actually, some of you, like Mad Lions, we already work with them, but like I'm hoping that if you don't have TikTok on your phone already, or if you're not working with TikTok yet, you're going to come out of this talk excited and inspired to hopefully include it in your strategy in the future. Can I ask, I'm going to start with a question like everyone. Yeah, how many of you have TikTok on your phone right now? Yay, that's really good. I thought it was going to be worse than that. So that's really good. So yeah, so like I was saying, I'm going to talk to you about how to leverage communities on TikTok and to unlock that untapped gaming audience for your different objectives. So first of all, I'm going to give you, many of you raise your hands, so I'm going to go quickly over TikTok in a nutshell and like the positives of being present in the platform. Then I'm going to move on to creators. We're going to talk about content as well, like I mentioned, and the gaming subcultures. You've been here for a while, so I'm going to try to make it short and sweet and painless because you've been sitting up for a little bit. So what makes the TikTok community so special? And I'm going to start by talking about the audience because I know there are several misconceptions about TikTok, but one of the first ones is about the audience. Like we just recently hit a milestone of 1 billion users globally, so pretty much everyone's there. But also like about the age, because I know sometimes it's conceived, especially in the media, as we have the younger audience, like we have the Gen Z and that's about it. And according to a study by Kantar, 67% of TikTok users are above 25 years old. So that's also very important to take into account. It's very inspiring, it's very diverse and very inclusive. If you're already on the platform and you're consuming content on the For You feed, you've probably seen this, but this is very important because this is really gonna dictate the strategy when it comes to content and how you have to communicate on the platform, because authenticity is key to get the message across. Realness and creativity, this really goes in hand with what I just mentioned. So authenticity and being your true self, this is very important. And this is important for creators, but also and very important for brands, for teams. And then gaming and culture collide. I know when you think about new platforms, and a few have been mentioned today, when you think about new platforms in gaming, maybe TikTok is not what you were thinking about. Maybe TikTok for you is something else, or other content verticals. So I really want to emphasize here in this presentation how it's a great place for gaming, it's a great place for esports, but it's just really the way we have to approach it is TikTok is a platform where gaming and culture and many other aspects of our culture collide. So you're going to see that loads of trends start on TikTok and then move on to different platforms, different mediums, different channels. So creators are the soul of TikTok. Creators, and you'll see that I say creators all the time. I never say influencers. I am allergic to that word. I know it's used, obviously, but for me, they are creators. It's a really tough job. Like we have more and more conversations about mental health and what being a creator entails, which I'm really grateful for. But it's very important to think about them as creators because it's a very serious job getting those strategies together and working with those brands. So creators don't just create content, but they create a sense of belonging. And that's very important because working with creators is what's going to get the message across. So here, I wanted to show you something is, if you think about other platforms, and I'm not going to name anyone, but if you think about other platforms, the most followed accounts tend to be Kylie Jenner, or I don't know, like we mentioned this before, like rock stars, or like people who are really, you know, they're famous many times for being famous or for something different, but not for the content they create. The content they create is just like another communication strategy they have on socials. On TikTok, this is different. Like the most followed account on TikTok are all emerging from different niches. So they're all creators that are famous for the TikTok community, but if you were, well, my mom has TikTok because I work at TikTok, but if you were to ask someone who is not on TikTok, like they would not recognize those names. So I mentioned authenticity before. It's really, really key to get the message across when we work with creators. The difference is not only allowed in TikTok, but is embraced, is encouraged, and it's celebrated. So instead of, and again, influencers trying to get people into similar behaviors, what we see with the creators is that they unite people through their differences. I asked in the beginning how many of you have TikTok, and many of you have it, so I'm not going to focus on explaining the platform, but one of the differences TikTok versus other platforms is when you go on TikTok, you go on the For You feed and you're going to get content from people that you don't know who they are, brands who you don't know who they are. So it's based 100% on discovery. And this is different from other platforms where you have to follow someone to then see their content and create that network of people you already know. So for brands, this is, and I cannot emphasize this enough, this is amazing because people are discovering you organically. I'm not talking about investing in paid media, which you can, of course, also do to complement your strategy, but organically you're getting to a new audience constantly, every video you upload. Authenticity, like I was saying, it's really encouraged. And well, just some numbers for you, but 71% of the TikTok users said that creator authenticity was what motivated them to buy a product or a service from a brand. And again, what we see in TikTok, the content that we see in TikTok is different. It's not your typical influencer on a holiday, somewhere you cannot be on holiday because you're working at the moment and you're really jealous. There are people like you. I was at a beauty event this morning and I was talking about a creator that I follow. I lived for 10 years in the UK and I follow a creator that does beauty routines, and she just had a baby like 6 months ago, and she had the baby and she was explaining her beauty routine, and babies, like they do, like the baby vomited on her top. And instead of editing that, which would have been just so simple to edit it out of the video, she kept it, went onto the camera and said, just give me a second, I'm gonna get changed. And then got changed and continued with her beauty routine. That authenticity is really what makes the platform, and we need to embrace that as brands. So we talk about creators, we're gonna talk about content. What is gaming on TikTok? Like I said earlier, maybe you didn't think about TikTok as a place where gaming is thriving, but it really is. So gaming on TikTok is, like I was saying, culture. It's not just the gameplay. There's so many things around the gaming culture, and that's what you're gonna find on short video format. So fashion, of course, cosplay, things like that. You're gonna find makeup, you're gonna find lifestyle. So from creators doing DIY, which is there's misspell, to creators building a lifestyle around gaming, talking about, having discussions about what game they're waiting to come out, anything like that. Gameplay, of course, we see this in other platforms. Here we talk about the best of, and TikTok is short video format. We also have live stream, but this is not really what would define the gaming community. They don't come here necessarily to live stream gameplay, but to share meme moments, to share best of kind of from the gameplay. Memes that I just mentioned, in real life. So how would a game be in real life, like acting it out, things like that. Gaming setup, of course, just kind of like comparing how their rooms are set up. Storytelling, so creating a story from a video game and making it similar to the in real life, making it happen. Culture, I mentioned it, but it's really on all the different content, and entertainment. So gaming on TikTok is, and like everything when we describe TikTok, is entertainment. So TikTok is not a social media app, and again, I cannot repeat this as many times, but it's an entertainment platform. So here, TikTok is based on the content. The content is the key, the king, not the social interactions. In fact, when you open the feed, you're not going to find your neighbor or your friends or your colleagues from work. You're going to find people you don't know, like I mentioned earlier, which also allows people to be more free because they know they're not being judged by people who know them already. I wanted to show you some of the trends that we have at the moment. Of course, this can be localized to the different markets. I wanted to go with global ones because I don't know how many Spanish speakers we have. But anything from broad, like gaming, to more specific, like games. But you can see the numbers, they're just crazy. Like, of course, gaming is 236 billion views we're talking about. But everything here has to be, everything we're talking about in the billion views type of numbers. Sorry. So how can you join the conversation? How can you leverage the subcultures that are in the app to get to that community and then obviously monetize it and grow your audience? So subcultures is what we're going to tap into right now. And it's not only niche communities within gaming. We're going to go into absolutely everything and how can that be used to our benefit in gaming. Starting by, and this is what I just mentioned, like defining that common ground. So you can be a newbie, you can be a hardcore gamer, casual, whatever, but everyone has, I don't know, food taste or music taste or whatever, apart from being a gamer. A person who's not just labeled as a gamer. So how can we get to them? And of course, all the videos play. Sorry, I have loads of examples, so this is going to be painful. So parent talk is one of the subcultures which is very popular on TikTok. Like I mentioned before, we have people from all ages, and like parents have found their community through parent talk. So you can find parents talking about how impossible it is to play games because they have to be taking care of their kids, for example, and they don't find the time. Or you can find, I don't know, like this one, for example, this video that I included here, like I've built my gaming collection to then pass it on to my kids. So it's how do we find that other thing that is not gaming to talk about gaming? You can see the views here as well. I don't know if you can see it from the back, but again, Parent Talk has 127 million views, and of course, this is changing every minute. But you can see like all the different communities that you could be tapping into. Another example, and I have loads of videos here, so I'm gonna pass that on. Another example is fashion. I mentioned it earlier. I really like this one, so I'm gonna play it. Whoops. Oh, there we go. I'm gonna play this one. So how do we talk about something like Among Us without showing gameplay or talking about Among Us? We can talk about outfits that are inspired by Among Us. Like the idea, again, is to tap on different subcultures and tap on things that you would normally not think of when you're thinking about gaming. So things like choose your character as well, that was a trend, and you've probably seen it in other platforms as well, but that was something that originated on TikTok. And is that video where people like play like the character, you know, when you're choosing your Tony Hawk character or whatever, and they're floating. So they recreate this, and again, this was a trend that had billions of views. Fashion, loads of different examples. I'm mindful that we don't have a lot of time, so I'll be happy to send all the links to everyone so you can enjoy it in your own time. Another subculture, another subcommunity, sorry, that you can tap on is book talk. Of course, books and movies that we're going to talk about as well are very much related to gaming. So again, what kind of things you can do? You can go into book talk as a brand. You can start conversations with the creators. You can work with those creators, which are normally going to be more niche. They will not be as big, but in TikTok, a following, like the follower count doesn't mean reach. You could have 0 followers, arrive today on TikTok, post a video, and that could have 5 million views, because it depends on how the content itself performs and not the account. So again, going with this type of creators, more niche, more micro, let's say, in a way, it's always the right choice. beauty, of course. I mentioned cosplay earlier, but like beauty, there's, again, millions of examples, and I'm sure you've already done things like that. Here, like we can see examples not only to sell the products, because of course this would be in the interest of the beauty brand, but here we're talking about creators who are getting inspired by the games, who are talking about the games, but with communities that probably, I don't know, female community, like, I don't know, a different age that your game is not reaching. This is how you can get to that audience that you haven't found before. Here you have some examples. I don't know if you can see them. I'm not going to play all the music, but you can see Pokemon, you can see Fortnite, Among Us, which are all very popular in the platform. And Film Talk, which I just mentioned, similar to Book Talk. Here you can go and talk about examples of video games, movies, how those transcribe, and how do they have a similar type of audience. So what do you do with this? The idea is for you to identify the relevance of cultures and those who are going to get to the niche community that you want to reach, to observe the trends. I always say this to all the brands that I work with: just download the app and use it for, I'm not doing this so that we have more users, because obviously that would be a terrible strategy, but just, it's really the best for you to download it and play with it, play around, watch content for about 15-20 minutes a day. You understand the language of the community, which is very special, and you understand how to create a good content strategy that is going to set you apart. So you participate in those trends, and then the last thing is to watch exactly what I just said, watch how the brand loyalists, those fans, are responding to the content and adapt. Sometimes we try to make something that is not working happen, and we keep producing the same kind of content, but the best thing is to actually listen to the community, and there's a lot of engagement on the app, so you can definitely learn from that. That is everything. I'm aware I was really fast, so I hope that was good.
Thank you, Raya. Thank you. So now, before we start enjoying business networking, eating, drinking, and mingling, I wanted to give all the speakers and you guys the opportunity to have questions and answers some minutes before we move on. I know it's been long, but I just wanted to give you a voice. So any questions? Julio?
Sorry, I want to make sure I understood correctly. So as a business owner,
or entrepreneur or consultant, as many of us are, what would you suggest as a typical or efficient use of TikTok?
well, one of the things that work really, really well on the platform as well, I focus on gaming right now, but another vertical is education. So there are like community education. So communities of marketeers, communities of like specialists from science to anything you can think of. So really, I would try to position myself from a brand, like personal brand perspective, like try to get myself out there. And it's also, there are niche communities that don't have so much competition. Of course, content around gaming, there's a lot more. But that also means if you do something that is going to set you apart, that is authentic, like I was saying, and creative, it's also going to be easier for you to be the one, you know, the person that is on everyone's feeds. So really work on it from the personal brand kind of angle.
More questions? Keep them going.
Unless the next one's for me.
Anything else?
Because the last one you have to stand
No, it's 20 questions for me.
I just have a question, sorry. For the brands over here that presented today,
Sure.
and for the people, what's the biggest barrier to entry in the crypto and NFT space? What's your hesitation of not entering the crypto or the NFT space?
It's too much hype.
You need to explain that a little bit more. When you say too much hype, what does that mean?
Well, hype means there must be somebody must be lying. I mean, I think that's the intuition of many people that if there's a hype about something, that it must be a story that someone is making.
So is it just the NFT space or the blockchain space you're talking about?
I think it's both, because it's so elusive. You cannot touch it, you cannot see it. You have to have certain. Does this thing work? I don't know.
It's just for YouTube.
So it's you cannot touch it, you cannot see it. You need to have certain education to understand it, and it must be something like 100 years ago when, or let's say 50, 60 years ago when banks moved away from cash and started opening checking accounts for people, and that transition was difficult for people. People they preferred keeping cash under their mattress rather than taking it to the bank and then seeing a figure in their checking account. So I think something similar is happening today.
Okay. And how many people here, just show of hands, agree with that notion? Yeah, with that concept, with that idea that it's too much hype and we don't understand it. Okay. Okay. So
another word, if that helps. Many people I know, they will phrase differently. They would say speculation. So there's a lot of speculation on getting NFTs because it's a lot of speculation. The price is being pumped up high, and then you don't know what is legit and what is not, and what is going to just fade. I think people fear something like I think when people mention speculation, they fear something like the dot-com bubble, like in the year 2000 or around there. That's the feeling I have. I don't have this particular resistance myself. Of course, I'm a bit still trying to understand how it works. But talking to many people, they explicitly mention this kind of thing that Guide mentioned, and speculation is the two kind of things: the hype and the potential speculation.
Yeah, it's definitely a speculative market. Yeah. Okay. So anyone else want to add to that? Like, what's the barrier to entry?
It's not the same thing. I mean, they're radically different things. But an NFT and a crypto,
Yeah.
they are radically different. They're not.
They are, but some people. So people think that if you're buying cryptocurrency, it's all speculative, right? But there are projects that are working on real life use cases, and the governments actually are going to issue central bank digital currencies, which will be on blockchain, essentially. So all your money that you currently have, your pounds and pennies and euros, are now going to be on blockchain, purely because the settlements are going to be easy. So from that point of view, there are some blockchains that are solving that problem actively. Sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, just as a distinction, I was only referring to NFT when I was talking about speculation, not necessarily blockchain or these projects.
Sorry, you were saying you had a point on where the NFTs and cryptocurrencies and blockchain. Are you distinguishing between those three, or are you just?
Well, blockchain is a technology.
Of course.
Crypto breaks down into bullshit crypto like Ethereum, stable coins.
Oh, that's very interesting.
And then fractional ownership of something that actually exists.
Right.
And then the digital euro, or which is also another version of stable coin. And NFTs again, something else that's different altogether. So there's speculation in all of those.
Right.
There's speculation on things. There's 11. So as I understand it, there's 11,000 cryptocurrencies that exist in the world, and it's kind of like talking about. I mean, you're just lumping lots and lots of different things together. When you're talking about just crypto or NFT, there's lots of different subcategories, some of which make sense, like blockchain technology makes sense, and you could do real things with blockchain, and you can do bullshit things with blockchain. My point of view.
Okay,
yeah.
I want to talk to you after this, and I want to know what's in your wallet, what cryptocurrency you hold, because you call it Ethereum bullshit. Okay. Now, anyone else want to add to that? What's the barrier to entry into crypto and NFTs and yep.
So I think for the NFT is kind of different because I don't have.
This doesn't work, huh?
Well, because I don't understand the pain for art market. So putting money into an art market without knowing about art or how art market works in the real life, but in the digital and with the speculation, I think it's a great barrier to enter. I mean, if it is for getting, I don't know, custom fits for your games or whatever, that's okay. But as a NFT, like the monkey pictures, that's kind of insane for me because I don't know about art. I don't know too much about the speculation that it's going on NFT, and I think that's a big barrier.
Okay. and brands over here, I know you're on a sort of gaming, not sort of, but actually gaming.
So, brand, yes.
Yeah, gaming brand. So what's stopping you entering the NFT and the or I should rephrase, leveraging blockchain in furthering your product or your brand?
Well, for us as an eSport organization, I would distinguish fan token and NFTs. Because NFT, we will probably start to try it as skins. So we are now partnering up with a company. So we will probably start to create skin in Halo in a game to sell to see how fans are reacting to it. Then fan token, as we had this conversation, I think it's really our issue is that, as I explained, eSport community has been used to given so many free stuff. So without a real reason, they will not purchase a fan token. So if you create fan token, you have to give it to them as a reward of something. So maybe through a community tournament, and then if someone wins, you give them the fan token of Vexed. And then afterwards, it's really how you can create a very, very regular engagement activities with utility of this fan token. So they have the motivation to take the fan token for something in the future. But we also know that fans in Millennial and Gen Z, concentration is not their forte, loyalty is not their forte. So if you're not regular in your social media engagement, if you do one thing today, gigantic, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you don't do nothing, they go away to somewhere else. So if you decide to start to do something, you might need to make sure that you can do it for a long time on a very regular basis.
It's just like you're saying that the Gen Z are drug addicts and they need that hit every couple of days.
Kind of.
Pretty
that's
much.
why TikTok works.
That's what. That's yeah. We won't talk about TikTok and growth, but yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe it also depends on the motivation of the NFT collection. I represent FanCurve. We are a digital fashion company built on blockchain. So I'm going to speak with you, Pei, afterwards, because yes, because basically we are building from a sense of community and fandom. It's not about on the speculative side of things. When I pitch to my potential partners, I don't mention the word NFT because it's not about having an NFT and earning money on it. It's just like about, I like this T-shirt. We do soccer kits, right, with cool designs, and people like, I don't know, we're talking to the PSG. So, hey, we are building this super cool soccer kit based on the PSG. So people who live in the metaverse, who want to own this thing, they will want to own it because they just like it and it's so cool. It's not so much about how much I will earn with this, right? There is a little bit of that as well, but it's about building community and a sense of belonging. I felt very identified with what you mentioned earlier about, make this sense of belonging. And indeed, we accompany all that with engagement through all our channels, Discord. I hope you like the pitch for FanCurve now. And
yeah, so when you said something interesting over there, you said you don't mention NFTs. What's the reason behind it? Why do you not mention NFTs? Because you are leveraging blockchain technology to create a digital version of something, right? It's just like you're saying you'll use TikTok, but you don't want to say you'll use it on the internet or your phone.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, of course, we have to say, of course, it is NFTs. I mean, we're minting on Polygon, and it is what it is, right?
So that's interesting. Again,
yeah.
Polygon it's a side chain, but yeah, we'll come to that. Go on.
Yeah, but it's not about like putting the highlights on the fact that we are like an NFT company. We're not an NFT company, we're a digital fashion company.
Yeah, okay, which makes sense. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Yeah, please.
Well, you mentioned Polygon, but Polygon at the moment looks cheaper to mint, so that's why a lot of people are going to Polygon rather than Ethereum.
Okay, so it's not in this. We saw Zelica as one of the partners for NFT and Metaverse space, right? And I also mentioned on the fan tokens that you can issue fan tokens on multiple blockchains, right? And you know, don't think that Ethereum is the. I ran a poll on social media, asking them if your NFT is on Ethereum, do you think it's more valuable, right? And most of the people said yes, and it's because, you know, majority of the liquidity. Now this is going to a bit technical. A lot of people trade their NFTs in Ethereum. So if I bought an NFT for 1 ETH and I sold it for 10 ETH, that means I have 10 Ethereum in my wallet. That means my buying power is 10 ETH. So the next NFT I'm going to buy, I can potentially buy a 10 ETH worth of NFT, right? And that's the buying power within the Ethereum ecosystem. So that's where all the liquidity for these NFTs lie. And that's where people mint on NFTs on Ethereum. There are other blockchains that will support you to deploy on their network. And for an art, sort of like a fashion brand, you don't have to do it on Polygon or Ethereum. You can do on a near blockchain, or you can do on Silica, or another blockchain, and get grants for it. So if you're looking for grants, come and talk to me. I'll point you in the right direction. But that's where it is. One last question before, I don't know how much time do we have, but one last question. You are doing an event, so you're on a chain of cinemas, right? Have you thought about issuing NFTs as your tickets? Because it's a unique event. It's the first time globally, right? People would want to be part of that. This is the first time it's happening. And as a appreciation to people who buy the tickets, have you thought about issuing them with an NFT which represents something?
I cannot talk about confidential information, but maybe we are closer than you think.
That's it. The NDA, the open NDA says it all. Right, okay, fair enough. And if you are not bound by the NDA, would you be able to share what is it a...
Maybe we can talk later.
Okay, fine, sound. Okay, brilliant. That's all my question. Thank you for entertaining you, by the way. Thanks very much.
Thank you. So, well, that brings one question. Who would want an NFT as a member of GBO for membership? Right, we can think of that.
We can bring new members.
we can bring a new member with NFTs. So, time to say thank you to all the speakers, especially for the ones that came a long way from from the UK, Barcelona, etc. So thank you very much for coming. It's been very enlightening, and of course we will have time to talk much more about this. And thank you to our beautiful team taking care of the streaming and everything else. And thank you all, guys, because this is all because of you. So go enjoy. Thank you.